What's up, boys and girls? I'm Rookie. Now let me put this down. Listen to me a little bit better. Listen to my beautiful voice a little bit better. Should you ride a 1000? It's a great question. Should you start on a 1000? That is a great question. Most people say no. My short answer is no. I gotta say, when I got on this bad boy for the first time, I started off on an R6. Oh, I love those pops. I started off on an R6, as you can see from my channel, and my my YouTube name is Rookie R6, which I'm gonna have to change eventually. But yeah, I started off on an R6, and I made a should you start on a 600 video, and my wait to tick, people are crazy, and my initial my answer was yes. Should you start on a 600? Absolutely. I mean, should, if you want to, you can start lower, but should you start on a 600? Absolutely. Sorry, I had to a little bit. Losing my train of thought. Because there's a lot of wind. And it's cold because it was raining. I can't think, boys. And gals. The slipper clutch on this bike is just amazing. So, should you start on a 1000? I think it matters more which bike you're planning to get. I would say personally, I think it's a different question. Should you start on it? Because this is the only 1000 I've ever ridden. The S1000RR 2012. It's got a full Acra system, as you can hear, and it's got a power commander. If you've, I remember seeing Chase on Two Wheels review of the S1000RR, and he said that the throttle response feels delayed. Like on the R6, it's immediate. On the R6, like the throttle response is just right? On the S1000, it's like a little bit delayed. It's a little bit weird, but for commuting, that is fucking amazing, because the bike will never ever just feel choppy. The R6 can feel choppy sometimes. This bike, the throttle response is incredibly smooth. Like I said, it even feels delayed, so you have time to regret your decisions on what you're doing with that throttle. If you start to hit the throttle a little bit too hard, the bike will come up and say, what are you doing? And you'll be able to go, whoa, whereas the R6 will just go, wow, you're fucked. So, I don't know, this bike is just ridiculous. The S1000RR, I would go so far as to say, I said on my previous video that the R6 was a perfect starter bike. Fuck that. The S1000RR is a better starter bike than the R6. There, I've said it. The R6 was my first bike. The R6 was my first bike, and this is my second bike. These are the two motor. Okay, so that's a lie. I rode a Rebel 250 for my MSF course. So the only two bikes that I've really ridden for a time and had and commuted with, because I have a car, but I don't use my car. Ever since I started riding motorcycles, I do everything with. I even go get groceries. I bought like a really huge American Cargo backpack, and I go buy groceries in the motorcycle. I do everything in the motorcycle. I go to and from work with the motorcycle. I go to and from the grocery store with the motorcycle. I go to and from fucking to the laundry. Yeah, well, not the laundry, but whatever, with the motorcycle. So, and I gotta say, between the R6 and the S1000, the S1000 is definitely easier to ride. If you're a new rider, you will have an easier time with this motorcycle than with an R6. It might also be because of all the rider aids. I mean, I started off with the 2008 R6, which is raw as fuck. It's got no rider aids, no ABS, no traction control, no nothing, no power modes, no shit, no nothing. This one has all the shebangs. Traction control, ABS, sorry, power modes, fucking quick shift assist, quick shifter, it's got called gear shift assist, bro, whatever. If you get one of the new ones, it's got auto blipper. I would say one of the harder things to learn to do on a motorcycle is blipping. Blipping is you know, I'm not gonna say it's hard. A ton of people are gonna say, oh, you think blipping is hard, bro? You're fucking you're a rookie. Get it? But blipping is one of the hardest things to do in the motorcycle. Do it right. In the R6, you have to blip right. That clutch is a virgin's pussy. The fucking grasp that clutch has is like a virgin's fucking, like a nun's asshole. Okay, so to demonstrate how smooth this clutch is, I wanted to come to a road where I can go a little bit faster. I'm in 3rd gear, and watch how I'm just gonna dump clutch every time I downshift. No blip, no nothing. I'm just gonna dump the clutch. See if you can see by the camera shake if this bike feels like it's even tugging at it. I'm just gonna dump clutch, brake, and start dumping. Did you see how smooth that motherfucker is? I do that on the R6 and I will somersault off the bike, because if I just downshift and dump clutch on the R6, I will fly over the bars. Because that fucking slipper clutch, if it can be called that, I'm guessing it's a 2008, but maybe the clutch is back then, but this one's a 2012. It's not like this one's like 2 decades ahead. Maybe it's just German engineering. But I do that on the R6 and you can kiss. I do that on the R6 and I will fly over the fucking bars. That bike will just jerk so hard because the clutch is so grabby. It will not, the slipper will not just mitigate the dumping of the clutch and downshifting. You will feel it, whereas this bike, it's so easy. And for a new rider, having, you know, let's say a new rider's going out, he's in his first couple of months, he shouldn't be, you know, he shouldn't have to know how to blip perfectly. This bike will allow you to be a noob, a rookie. The S1000RR will allow you to make so many mistakes, and she will catch you for it. Traction control and ABS to start. It's so hard to lock this bitch up, whereas the R6, good luck. I mean, the newer versions come with it, but yeah, new riders won't have to watch out for that. New riders won't have to be paranoid about the throttle. Oh my god, what if I flip this throttle a little bit too hard? Am I gonna fucking die? No, not on the S1000. I don't know about the R1. I've heard reviews on the R1, and it seems the R1 is nothing more than a more powerful R6. I've seen a couple of YouTube reviews on the R1 of people riding the, you know, the 2015 plus R1, because I was interested in that bike before I got this one, and everybody would say the same thing. Oh, they would ride it, and within the first minute of the video they'd go, whoa, this throttle is choppy. And that's the exact same thing I felt on the R6, so that's probably just Yamaha. Like, should you start on a 1000 is very different if you're talking about an R1, if you're talking about an S1K, probably if you're talking about a Ducati 1299. It's a very different question. It depends more on the manufacturer. Should you start on a 1000? Should you start on an R1? Probably not, because I had an R6. I know how choppy that shit is. I know what a Yamaha clutch. I know how the Yamaha clutch feels. And if it's just a more powerful and unforgiving R6, if the R1 is just a more powerful and unforgiving R6, I would say no, you can't start in that. Should you start on an S1000RR though? Absolutely. This bike is so easy to ride. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I just can't say that enough. This bike is just so easy to ride. The clutch is so forgiving. You can just dump the clutch. You can just bang down gears, bang, 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 and just dump the clutch every single time, and you won't even feel it. You'll feel like, oh, I have an auto blipper. No, you don't, because it doesn't. You don't have an auto blipper. It's just the slipper clutch is a fucking the fluids inside of this lever clutch are unicorn semen, so they magically mitigate any type of intense friction it would feel when you're dumping the clutch. And then again, the throttle of the S1000 is just so smooth, it even feels a little bit delayed. I gotta say, when my first ride, I immediately thought like, wow, this is the throttle, is it even working properly? Because it felt like it was like it was retarded. Like, it's what I'm saying, like you would pull the throttle and you would feel whereas the R6 is hang, the S1000 would be hang, and it even feels wrong. You're like, what the hell? But then you realize that for commuting, that is fucking amazing, because commuting is a lot of low speed maneuvers, going into red lights, at least in California, lane splitting between cars, and having that much of a forgiving and retarded, I'm gonna stop calling it retarded, but having that much of a forgiving, I should have turned right here. Having that much of a forgiving throttle is amazing for commuting, especially if you're a new rider. It makes it so easy on you, because you can be sloppy with the throttle hand. You can, I twisted the throttle just a little bit too much. Oh, fucking well, because the S1000 don't care. Let's say you twist the throttle a little bit too much and you feel the bike going, you can just roll off a little bit, and because of the delay in the throttle, it'll never get to that point where you put the throttle. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly. Okay, and then this other point that I'm gonna make, I think is it's more quality of life than anything. A lot of people say, a lot of people think, what's the biggest difference between a 600 and a 1000? It's fucking obvious. It's in the numbers, the engine size. The 1000, the engine's bigger, it's stronger, it's faster. So that makes you say it's obvious. It's okay, so it's worse for beginners because a bigger engine means it's faster, more torque, more horsepower, it's more dangerous, and that's 100% true. But there is a silver lining, and that is the fact that because it's a bigger engine, it's stronger, because it's stronger, it can be geared differently. The gears, you can stay longer at a given gear, and that is so good. Look, right now I'm at second, whereas I'd probably be in fourth on the R6 on this, because the problem, and yeah, you don't have to be, I know that the R6 can get to, I've gotten to, I think, 76 miles an hour. I think it was 76 miles an hour in first gear, and the R6 was the red line. So you can get there, but the problem with the with a 6, it depends how you like to ride. Am I in a lane to turn right? So it depends on how you like to ride, because me personally, if I want to ride fast, if I want to go on a spirited ride, sure, I like to hear the engine roar, let's say. But if I'm just commuting, like today, if I'm just going out for a chill ride, like I said, 90% of the riding that I do is commuting early in the morning or after rush hour, and I'm tired after work. I don't want to go, like when I'm commuting, I just want to be chill. I just want to be riding and I want to be relaxed. And I don't want to be relaxed and the bike going, because it doesn't sound like it, but at least for me, psychologically, it's a little bit disturbing. You don't want to be on a chill ride and the bike is just motherfucking screeching at you. And the bike is just motherfucking screeching at you. It's not psychologically, it's not, those two things don't go together. So, and the 600 versus the 1000 is such short geared. If you don't want to hear the bike just fucking screeching, screaming, you gotta shift to second at 25 miles an hour, shift to third at 35, shift to fourth at 45, for example. So the commute, every red light turns into you having to shift 3 to 4 gears if you want to keep the bike, on a low grumble, because you're just chilling, because you're just city riding. Whereas the S1000, I don't have to shift at all. The engine is so huge, it can handle the RPM so well. Look, I'm at 45 miles an hour right now on first gear, and this bike is just on a low grumble. Of course, you have to pay, of course there's a big difference, because my other bike, my R6, my R6 had stock pipes, so it wasn't loud at all. And this one has a full Akrapovic system, so this bike is 10 times as loud. So obviously you're gonna say, wait dude, you're in first, you're in 45 miles an hour, and I can hear your fucking bike, and your bike is going loud. Yeah, it's going loud because it has a full system, but it doesn't feel loud. The vibrations, the RPMs, it doesn't feel loud, whereas the R6 was not as loud, but it feels loud. The engine just feels like, yeah, like it's fucking crying. Yeah, it's throwing a tantrum. This bike, I'm at 45, I'm sitting at first gear, and if it didn't have an Akrapovic, look at other S1000RR videos. At 45 miles an hour first gear, if they have stock pipes, look at those videos. This bike is just like it's gargling, like it's just falling asleep. It's going so slow that it's falling asleep. And again, that is a really good plus for beginner riders, the fact that they don't have to shift as often. Right now, at this speed, my R6 would probably be at 10,000 RPMs. Just wah! So that's a benefit. And again, obviously, a lot of people are probably going like, this guy's a fucking idiot. That's not how that works. That's not how that is. You're not explaining it right. But what I'm trying to do is, again, this is a should you start video, so I'm trying to simplify things for riders that are starting out. I'm trying to put this into how I see it, because I'm still a new rider. So this is how I see. I had an R6, I have an S1000 now, and these are the benefits that I see clearly from owning an S1000. It's that I don't have to blip the throttle when I'm downshifting. I can just bang. I can just bang gears. I don't have to be delicate with the clutch. I can just bang down those gears. I don't have to be super delicate with the throttle because it's choppy. I can be as careless as I want and I'll be fine. The engine is huge, so I don't have to shift as much. Right now, I'd be in 4th gear with the R6 if I wanted to just be chilling. With this one, I can be chilling in 2nd. This road is horrible. This is fucking this is borderline off-road here. And I gotta say, having ABS, having traction control, having power modes, it really does help. And it's starting to rain pretty hard, so I'm about to go back in. I'm gonna head back home. My Saturday ride is over. But yeah, and then let's not forget to mention the power modes. Most 600s don't have power modes, whereas a 1000 does. And everything that I'm saying about how smooth the throttle is, how smooth the gears are, how this, how that, everything, I'm riding this bike in sport mode. You can still go down to rain mode on this bike. I haven't even tried rain mode. This bike is super smooth in sport mode. I haven't even tried rain, and sport mode has the full horsepower, the full size of the engine. Whereas rain mode, I think, goes down to like 60 or 80% of the engine's power. So imagine, a new rider can get on this bike with this fucking unicorn semen liquidated clutch. This fucking smooth throttle, the big engine, they don't have to switch as many gears, and then they can go down to rain mode and make the engine a little less powerful, so it's a little less dangerous. And this is an amazing bike to start out in. Those are my 2 cents. Should you start on a 1000? Depends on the manufacturer. Should you start on an S1000RR? Why not? If you got the money, get an S1000, get a Power Commander, take it to whoever's going to tune your Power Commander and say, hey, I want a commuter-friendly tune. I want a smooth throttle, and whatever the fuck else the guy that had the bike before me did. And this is much easier to ride on than an R6. So, that's my opinion. Check you guys later. Oh, and P.S. one thing I forgot to mention. I talked about how easy it is to ride and all that. If you're a responsible rider, see me, I'm just going slow, right? Down the neighborhood. I'm just chilling, going really slow. But one thing I forgot to mention is everything that I said in this video assumes that you're a responsible rider and you will ride slowly. But let me just give you an ounce of truth. If you rip this throttle a little bit too hard and you keep it there, This bike will launch you into the fucking future, my friend. Do not confuse that. 200 horsepower. Alright, this is Rookie and I'm out.